Hi, how are you doing? What's up, Arky? So what we'll do is we'll just walk a little bit this way.
Okay.
And we'll come back for his stuff later. We'll just do a little evaluation of behaviors here.
Yeah, I got it.
You can't handle it.
Would you say this is how he's usually like on walks, or is he a little bit more amped up than usual?
I would say a little bit more amped up than usual.
Careful, your shoes are tied.
Yeah, he unties them.
Yeah, it's good exercise though. One thing we'll probably do, I don't know if I have any extra larges left, but I'll probably take him like a training harness.
Okay.
One, so that way we can have something to help other people visually see that we're working on his behaviors. It gives him a little bit more of a warning from a distance. And then two, because we don't want to put all this constant pressure on his back. I'm sure he's perfectly used to it, but that way, we're distributing the force a little bit more while we're working on teaching them how to walk nicely, so he's not always tugging. So that's a lot of force to be exerted.
Yeah, like I'm like not able to do the leash with him at all. Like he's literally tugged me where I'm literally falling over completely.
Gotcha. Has he always been like this when he was small?
Yeah. Okay. He never really cared for the leash. It was always a struggle. He stopped chewing on it.
Oh, that's good.
That's the only improvement of the leash aspect.
Okay.
And he's seen it as I guess it's not tasty anymore.
Most of the time puppies will chew on the leash because it's something that's holding them back, and so they don't like it, and so they'll naturally just go for it, especially if it's around their head neck area. So like with one of the last pups that just went home, we adjusted to a harness with the clip in the back, so that way it's not in the front. And then we also got them more used to and enjoying a harness, or like the control of the leash, so that way they're not resenting it as much. So the combination of those things will help. But we probably just got so used to it by now that he just ignores the leash pretty much anyways. Unfortunately, not everybody picks up, even though there's a station right there. Do you have his muzzle on you?
No.
Oh. Were we not able to get a muzzle train, or is it back in the car?
We weren't able to. Every single time we went, and we couldn't get him to put it on in the store and do all the different sizes.
Okay.
He wasn't very cooperative with that aspect.
Okay. We'll have to try to kind of get him used to things a lot slower then, while I get him used to having a muzzle on. That's going to definitely take some time away.
Yeah, Theo said he thinks that, like, with him it's very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? He just can't pick up on things instantly, or even like days and weeks. It's a lot.
Oh, he's got diarrhea too.
That's the
oh, okay. Poor guy. Hi.
Okay.
Not do well on car rides? Or is it because it was a longer one?
Yeah, the anxiousness.
Okay.
This was the longest trip. And then with the stopping to go. Yeah.
Okay. I was looking through the text for my emails, and I didn't get usually an overview. You might have forgotten. Thought I talked about it on our phone calls, but whenever you guys get a chance, if you could just text or email, and we probably just text works, an overview, brief history, general things like name, age.
Oh, I have it all written down in a book.
Oh, okay. So that way I'll have it, and then like the priority list for training.
Yeah, I have all of that written in a book.
Okay. I was trying to look for it to review, and I couldn't find it. So what are, outside of like the leash and the reactivity, or are those kind of the main things? Or is there anything else?
He literally just doesn't listen to any sort of command. Sit, stay, come. He's extremely jumpy when people come over.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know patience. He doesn't know. He thinks that whenever anybody is over, that they're there for him. So, like, they'll play with him for a little bit, but then, you know, they're there for a specific other reason, and he won't going about his own business. He has to constantly want the attention. He doesn't relax. He won't just calm down whatsoever.
Gotcha.
Any new scenario, and then he's easily distracted. Like, I've tried to exert his energy with throwing balls, but then he won't come back. He won't drop it. I don't know what's up with that. And then if a bug, even a smallest little bug passes his face, his attention is completely and utterly gone.
Okay. Usually a lot of these behaviors are ones that you kind of work on when he was a smaller puppy. Did you just not get him until he was bigger, or did the training during the puppyhood didn't work? Like, what's going on there?
It didn't work.
Okay.
Like, he listens to Theo a little bit more than me. But I was the one that was home with him, and he just wouldn't listen. I just think he doesn't see me as any sort of authority figure whatsoever, as he does with Theo.
Okay. And like the training that you're trying to do with him, was it like things that worked before with other dogs that just didn't work with him, or is
Yeah,
this your
things
first
that
dog?
I've dealt with other dogs, it just didn't work with him. Like, I got him to sit, but I have yet to get him to stay for more than 45 seconds.
Okay. And how old is he?
He's 10 months.
Okay.
Well, he'll be 10 months at the end.
Gotcha.
Like, he has the shortest attention span to, yeah, he's everything.
And is this your first time with a professional
Yes.
trainer? Okay.
We figured we'd have way more luck with a professional than with us, especially his attention span, and he's the most hard-headedest dog I think I've ever had.
Okay. So usually a couple things that factor in, especially when people find that their dogs are stubborn or hard-headed or strong-willed or things like that. A lot of times we're gonna have to kind of break it down into a couple different things. Most of the time it's that they actually don't understand the command that we're trying to give them fully. Like, they'll do it sometimes, but then other times they won't, and so that's sometimes why we think that they're stubborn. They either don't have the focus or the work drive to execute the commands. So maybe, you know, there's no either risk or there's no either reward enough for him to want to execute, or consequence enough for him to not want to execute. That's another reason why. And then for like smarter breeds as well, and that's where you'll kind of get into more difficulties, is when they understand the command but then choose not to because of, like I said, the lack of a reward to work for or a consequence to kind of be like detrimental if they don't execute. So a lot of times with stubborn or, you know, hard-headed or things like that, they kind of fall into those categories, and especially bulldogs in particular, they'll usually fall into the category of they are usually more focused and fixated on one other thing as opposed to what you're trying to get them to do. So that's just more of the like focus and drive, but not towards what we want, but whatever they want. So those are all things that you want to try to take into consideration when you're diagnosing, like, you know, why he's not listening. And the main thing that we'll probably be be focusing on, especially him with as a kind of pretty much like a puppy at this point, is teaching, making sure he understands, and then repetition, so that way it's easy for him to execute. I usually train that way through positive interactions and understanding and patience, as opposed to pressure and consequence. Those will apply like later at the end, after we make sure that he actually understands what to do, and we've had enough practice to make it really easy for him to. So we try to really work kind of backwards from some other trainers. Pros and cons of that, of course, is sometimes it'll take longer because we have to figure out what's wrong first.
Yeah.
Then other times too, we have to put in higher reps of positive reinforcement training, as opposed to usually lower reps of negative reinforcement training. It's pretty easy to not stick your hand in the cookie jar if you get shocked really hard whenever you do.
Yeah.
It's really hard when you just get a good job from your friend, you know. But one thing is more beneficial than the other, and both times you're not getting a cookie. So it just kind of really depends on your training style and preferences, as well as your own personality. Most of the time, it's less of like an authority figure and more of just a leader. And that doesn't always have to be very like alpha or anything like that. It's just more so understanding what he needs, what he wants, and then getting it so that way he can actually work for it. Does he have any allergies?
No, not that we've seen.
Okay.
Like the one thing, like I'm due in December.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. And we have the 2-year-old at home, but it's just the excitement of the jumping. Like the other day, we let him outside because we were trying to do stuff in the house. So he goes on a tether because we don't have an actual fence. So went outside because he got stuck, and he doesn't realize, he just gets way too excited. So he full-fledged just literally jumped on me as tall as me and like knocked me down. So we're trying to get him to not do that either, but no matter, it's just the excitement overload is the constant, the jumping on me, Theo, the baby.
That's gonna probably be your hardest thing in relation to me to have to do, because when they're here, they have more of like that kind of boot camp or summer camp kind of regiment when they're constantly working. And so especially with German Shepherds, that's what they're bred to do. And so if we don't give them that kind of positive outlet, not just for energy, but for mental stimulation as well, then that's where all that excess energy comes from, and then a lot of unwanted behaviors usually derives from that, jumping, things like that, hyperactivity. So a lot of it is going to be kind of figuring out a way around you guys' busy schedule that you can kind of rotate in either training drills or social sessions or things like that to help augment his energy level, to give him a day to do. Because that's what most German Shepherds need until they're much, much older. Same with labs and collies. But if you have a working dog with high energy, you can't just always suppress it. It's just not going to work. So you're going to have to find a way to bleed it out.
I'm home every day. And I try and get him out to overdo the energy, but he has never listened to me. Like any sort of, I've looked at videos of any sort of, like, am I saying the command's wrong? I mean, he just won't, he will not listen. But if Theo talks to him and says, Howie, come, he comes in 2 seconds. But for me, I can't take him out all the time to exert the energy because I'm scared to death he'll either run off, pull the leash on me and then take off, or go and try and mess around with the dog that's the neighbor's dog or anything like that.
Gotcha. So I take it
I'd love to be able to exert his energy and get him out all the time, but he's also just doesn't listen to any sort of basic command.
So I take it he probably hasn't had too many puppy play dates or goes to daycare or anything like that?
He doesn't go to any daycare. He has puppy play dates with my sister's dog and my friend's dog.
Okay.
Those are the only two dogs he's really interacted with. There's never really been an issue.
That's good.
And that's when I see him exert his energy. But then he's focused on that dog too, so he won't listen to anything I say. If I need him to come or to leave the dog alone or enough is enough, he doesn't listen to that either. He
That's
thinks everything
understandable.
is playtime.
Yeah, you said with Brianna, he kind of doesn't know.
Yeah, he doesn't know boundaries with her, so she pretty much tackles him down and bites at his ankles and says, "Okay, I'm done with you, leave me alone." And for 5 minutes he realizes it and then he's back at doing the same thing.
Gotcha. So a lot of times, especially if he's not disciplined enough to listen and follow commands and or doesn't understand them, when he's not excited, then when he's excited and focused on another dog and playing is at a whole nother level too. It's usually one of the upper ones as well, so that's not too surprising that he can't refocus or listen to commands in that state. Found some bread. Howie. Yes, good job.
Yeah, he's eating. I don't know why so usually I try and feed him at 7:45, 8 in the morning. He like just doesn't really want to unless I'm literally standing right here. And then he picks up the first pieces in his mouth, runs away and throws it all over the floor, and then goes back to eat a little bit more and still throws the food all over the floor, and then goes back and I make him pick up the pieces because that drives me nuts. But I don't know why he's so bent on, he will, if I go in the other room, he won't eat.
Okay. We'll work on that, and that might just be something that transfers over later too, because a lot of times, especially because being here, it's going to be a lot more structured, especially when it comes to chow time, so he'll only have a limited amount of time when he eats, and usually even dogs that are grazers end up kind of quickly acclimating and eating when bulls are down, because they know the bulls are going to be back up. Between the extra workload, they're usually more hungry, and then also having a limited window. So usually that'll kind of just resolve itself. I'll keep you updated, but that's kind of normal as well, because most dogs are scavengers, so he likes to kind of scatter and then pick up, especially if it's something leisurely to him.
And I don't know if it's just because, I mean, he's always, like, been around, people. Like, he's definitely, like, people person. But he had to stay the night at my husband's mother's house. And they have a fenced-in yard. But he doesn't like to be out alone. So I don't know. He, like, wouldn't go out there and just be out there and run around unless somebody was out there standing with him too.
Has a lack of confidence. We'll have to work on his socializing as well to help develop that. Just expanding his inner circle is important, especially for German Shepherds, because they're naturally kind of aloof or wary of new people. So getting him more comfortable, and then also because he's so young, he kind of has that maternal bond still.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't understand if we like go outside and leave him like on a tether. He's not understanding why he's by himself. He does not like that.
Yeah, it's understandable. It's usually a hard one for dogs to be left completely alone all the time because they lack the kind of communication from us until it becomes either something regular or something worked on. You would kind of equate it to the same thing as like maybe me putting you in your bedroom and taking your phone, closing and locking the door.
Yeah.
Just not letting you know when we're gonna come out, when we're gonna be back or anything, just kind of leaving you there. And so all of those same feelings that you would start to go through after maybe a very short amount of time is what he processes, because he doesn't have that understanding that, hey, we'll be right back in like 10 minutes, just sit tight. You know, we can tell him that, but if he doesn't understand it, it's the same thing as telling you, wah, 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 you know, and now you're just like freaking out in your room, even though it's only been 5 minutes.
He'd rather be, because he's crate trained, so he'd rather be in a crate than be outside by himself. Which I want him to, because we're trying to find a house with a fence for him and everything, to be able for him to be outside and roam around and run around like a mad dog he is, but he would prefer being in a crate than that, which we're trying to get him out of a crate.
Sometimes it's just his comfort zone.
And then the eating too, like my toddler, I'll try and give him a piece of string cheese, and I'll give Howie a piece of cheese, but yet Howie realizes he eats his so quick, and by the time that my child tries to make it to the sofa, he runs over and grabs his food.
Usually separating the dogs while you're eating is going to be the best way to avoid those incidents, and also to avoid creating those bad habits. Especially when you're going to have another one on the way, you're going to be really distracted unless you have somebody else to help you. What I'll usually do routine wise, it works really well, is I'll feed the dogs first and then I'll feed myself, so that way they've already eaten and they're being separated from me while I eat, and then after I clean up from myself and from them, then I'll go back out. It also helps because I have to deal with a lot of food aggressive cases sometimes, so really learning to control resources like that is really important. But as soon as you kind of do and it becomes a routine, it's really simple to do, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Like graded, separated for, because like same thing with like eating dinner at the table, like we've never been able to have him do that.
It can be a hard thing, but it's just something that, especially if you give him like a favorite bone, or I've done like extended shoes or Kongs or their own dinner while I eat too. You know, sometimes that'll help them as well, especially after a long day. It's always good to have that separation. We'll always practice, leave it as well, but that can be really something that, you know, you will have to actively do while you're both preparing your meals and you're eating with him, to make sure that he understands that he's not going to get anything and he has to kind of give up on his own. So it's going to be a lot of work either way. It just kind of, like I said, with him being separated, you don't have a chance of failure, whereas with him at the table with you, somebody might drop something, the kids might, you know, throw something, and he might jump up. Yeah, there's so many things that can go wrong because you're not controlling that one simple variable.
Yeah.
It just makes life a lot harder. It's doable, and you know, you can transition into that, but we really have to develop his discipline first, like you said, especially if he's not listening to you and he can't wait for more than 45 seconds. The last thing you kind of want him to do is be free roaming around a full table.
Exactly, I just want him to eventually, like the goal is to eventually have him be able to be free, but short attention span and easily distracted definitely doesn't help.
That's understandable. And like you said, with puppies, he's mostly been very focused on his nose and exploring. So giving him an opportunity more than not to have those chances outside while we're out, and really giving him some more time, and then rewarding him for redirecting is going to be part of the key. So what I'm gonna do is give him back to you real quick. If you want to take him for a walk up that way, I'm gonna transition somebody else in real quick because they've been here before and they're really fast, and then that way I can start getting him adjusted, and we'll maybe do an evaluation with the dog or two at a time, so
Okay.
that way he can kind of have a chance to get familiar and everything before he has to, you know, instead of just diving him right into the whole pack. And that way it'll also get out any last bits of diarrhea he may have as well. Do you have any questions for me or anything else at the moment?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Like I said, this will be a little bit harder because he's not muzzle trained. So it's gonna probably take a little bit more time than expected, but that'll be okay. Good boy. So go ahead and stay there. Have one female come over for me. Go ahead and keep him there and have one female come over to me. There he goes. So this is Blue.
You're cute.
He's a good boy.
What kind of dog is he?
Cattle dog. He'll be good for an evaluation because he behaves well with other dogs. He's well socialized. So what I'll do is I'll have you hold Blue and just follow my instructions.
Okay.
What we'll do is just kind of keep distance. He's a little shy of strangers at first, but he'll warm up to you. Blue.
Yeah.
Good boy. There you
Good
go.
boy.
There's a couple more for you in case you need them. Good boy. And what I'll do is I'll take our boy Howie over here and I'll kind of gauge how long it takes for him to settle down.
Okay.
And as he gets used to seeing Blue, we'll get closer.
Okay.
And I'll try to have him approach from behind so he can kind of smell him and vice versa.
Okay.
We'll walk together and that way he'll get to meet his first roommate. Depending on how long it takes, I might have to do the rest without you, but we'll see. Hi. Good boy. Look at that. I know. There you go. Good boy. I'll go ahead and take him for you. Good boy. You ready? Come on. Easy, big boy. Good. So long as he's kind of really energetic and intense, we don't really want him to meet other dogs just because even if it is friendly or unfriendly, it could trigger them to be defensive because it is so intense. So all we're doing is just kind of giving him some time to get used to seeing the other pup at distance and then letting him kind of settle. I'm just kind of letting out that energy a little bit at a time and just kind of extending the time of the meet so that way we can get some of that energy out. If you want, you could probably go help her. He usually doesn't pull, but he's pretty excited right now. He doesn't have his head halter on. He's ready to go in and play. He goes over to hang out. And so another thing that we're gonna need to work on with him too, sorry, again, is just the fact that, like, especially when he is hard driving towards something, that he doesn't get it. Whether that be a scent or a dog or a person, until he kind of gives up and then redirects his focus back to me is when he'll kind of get what he wants. And that's just gonna take patience and developing that discipline. Howie. Howie. This way, big guy. Right? So because he's fixated on the other dog, doesn't listen to his name, doesn't register, so all we're gonna have to try to do is break that line of sight, make it a little bit easier for him to redirect. There you go. Good boy. I'm gonna try again. Howie. Good boy, yes, very good. So he's still obviously too worked up for the treats, but you can kind of tell, at least at this distance, he's able to settle down a little bit. Hey, Blue, good boy. Yeah. Wait, good boy. Yeah. Careful, big guy. Good, yes. And that's what I'm looking for, okay? I'm looking for him to drive towards what he wants, realize that he can't get it, and then check back to me on why or for permission. You might want to go help your sister out there. He gets overwhelmed. You just gotta take it easy with him. He's okay. Yeah.
Should I take him?
Yeah, go ahead and take him. I'll take Blue. Come here, Blue. Come here, Blue. Good boy. Yes. Sit. Good. You're okay, big guy. I know. Come on. Put it back on him. Might need you to hold this or just put it on him for me. You good?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's okay, big guy. I guess we'll trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'll take him then. Good. It's okay, big guy. There you go. Go ahead and let him approach from behind to smell him. We want to just try to avoid face-to-face contact. Good boy, Blue. This way. There you go. Yep. Just keep going nice and slow. There you go. Good. Very good. Good boy, this way. Now we're going to walk this way and you just kind of walk next to us.
Do you think we should tighten his collar up, or do you think he's okay?
It's probably a little loose. Good boy. Yes. Blue's a past graduate. That's why I made him do that. Sometimes what'll happen too, and wanted to kind of see, I guess, for lack of a better word. Like sometimes when you're working with dogs that are unsure, if you accidentally add additional pressure, then it kind of pushes them away. Whereas if you almost kind of be patient or do nothing, then they have the time that they kind of need to kind of get used to or respond appropriately. So you kind of see there, because he's not barking and pulling, I'm allowing Blue to come back in closer. Good boy. Very good. There you go. And that's what you want. You want him to eventually exhaust himself to the point where he is settled down, or at least a notch or so, and then he gets to meet and interact with the other dogs. Yeah, that's fine. He'll let him know. So now you can go ahead and... Good job. Good boy. I know, you want to go in.
Oh, that's you.
You have to pee right where he
I tightened it, but
Good job.
Why did he do the ball thing?
Just wants to play with him. It's just the way to initiate. Good boy. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get them to the court so I can let this one off leash a little bit, so that way they don't get tangled up as much as they do. And there we go. This one they got. Calm, boy. Good boys. Looks intense, but pulls his punches really well, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Looks intense, but pulls his punches. That's how you also know, based on how he's reacting, if it's a good or bad behavior too. It doesn't seem to bother him, so I register that as okay. Good boy. Yeah, so they'll be just fine. They'll be okay with my old ladies. They're used to hundreds of dogs coming and going. And so what we'll do is we'll work with his boarding mate, if you guys still have time for the last evaluation. And his boarding mate is going to be perfect because we're working on him with leash reactivity. He's great at the dog park and off of the leash, but on the leash he needs some more time and effort in practicing. Good boys.
So will he always be like very like hyperactive with seeing new dogs, or is there like a chance for change kind of thing?
He might always be excited, but he might be able to redirect his focus better, as you kind of see with Blue, and you'll kind of see with Nash, and I'll pull out. You know, you'll with dogs that are kind of excited or apprehensive or anything, that's going to probably be that initial. But where the training kicks in is how easy it is for them to settle back down and redirect back to you. You know, it's not about changing their personality, but giving them the ability to control themselves and then rewarding them for it.
Okay.
It just gets amped up, that's all.
Yeah, just really worked up.
So it's just kind of typical puppy behavior, and that's where it's going to take just a lot of practice too in socializing him. And so you kind of, I went over it with him, but I don't know if you could hear, but you'll be able to kind of see in the replay as well. But just letting him get excited and then bleed out that energy until he's calm, until he's wondering why he can't meet. And then as soon as he looked back at me, that's how you know you're making progress, because he's wondering, he's thinking about a situation, and he's checking in with you. That's the main thing. Is we want him to learn to give up, trying to get something on his own, and he gets it by paying attention to us, and then we let him go get it, you know, or we bring it to him. That's just gonna take time and effort. Yeah. Correct. Sometimes it clicks faster with some dogs, sometimes it doesn't click at all. Just really depends on the pup. But the sooner it clicks to them that he gets what he wants by paying attention to me, the faster it will be. The faster it will be. And that's all that you want, you know. You want him to meet other dogs. You just want him to be able to sit and settle and focus on you for a moment.
Yeah.
Good boy. Now you can really see he's kind of died down a little bit. So I'm going to give you back his leash, and I'm going to go grab Nash. I'm also going to give you a different leash for him as well. And when I go back in, and I shall be right back. You guys have any questions? Good boy, Blue.
No, I'm okay now. It was a little stressful.
You'll get used to it the more that you do it.
Yeah.
On the 12th. So you might want to go ahead and start making some distance now. Good boy, you're okay. Yeah, see? It's a pup. Yes, good, listen. Yes, very good. So capable. I know, who's that? Huh? Who's that dog? Who's that? You gonna go get him? You gonna go get him? Oh yeah, good wait, thank you. So you kind of see the uncertainty and the excitement, and everything is still there, but he's checking back in more unprompted too. It's okay, big guy. I know. What do you think, huh? What do you think? What do you think? Oh, I know. He's gonna be your new friend. Oh yes, you said. Down, sit, good. Good, yes. Thank you. Good. So you see what I mean by not changing his personality, but helping him to control himself faster. I know. Oh, firecracker. Oh yeah. Where are you going? Where are you going? Come here, I gotta untangle you. Come here. Come here. I gotta untangle you. Come here. Good boy. There we go. Alright. And same thing. As long as he's puffed up, I'm gonna give him some time to let it out. He's doing a lot better, and he's still unsure, right? It's okay, big guy. So what we're gonna do is just walk together. and let him kind of be downwind of him. I don't know. Good boy. Yes. Good. Yes. Very good. There you go. It's okay, big guy. I know. Sit. Good boy. It's okay. Good boy. So the face-to-face confrontation is harder for a lot of dogs too. So that's why you want to try to avoid it as much as possible. It's usually a lot more polite and a lot less standoffish when they're not going face-to-face like that. And it'll be easier when he gets to smell him and approach him from behind. But he gets more apprehensive when he faces him. Good boy. See what I mean? So he was okay up until he turned around. And it'll be hard on both ends because we'll be doing this with him as well. You know, and that's where it just takes time and patience. And now, because he doesn't feel threatened, because he's not facing him and having that hard eye contact, he feels free to approach and smell and investigate. And that's what he needs, same with your other pup as well, to help him calm down. He needs to be able to engage. We just gotta let them know that they can't engage during the times when they're inappropriately behaving like that, right? It's okay, Nash. Come here, buddy. Good boy. Good settle. Good job.
So is he just curious of him with the barking, or?
Yeah, he just doesn't seem to know what to do. And that's pretty normal if he hasn't had a lot of like social interactions in this kind of like situation. You know, he's like, it seems like he's threatening, but he's not really threatening because he's not, you know, he's trying to get that apprehensiveness going because he's also unsure himself. So he wants to like forewarn also. Good boy, there you go. Good job. And you can see, just like with him, as same as before, that downshift in behavior. Yeah. And all it took was maybe half a block of walking, less than 5 minutes of time. And now he's kind of facing him and not overreacting. Good. Yes, very good. And now I can redirect him even when he's facing him. So there's so much that training can do if like anxieties and emotions are in the way. So you want to try to help them with those problems first by, you know, enabling them to have more space or time to get comfortable with the situation. And then we have that expectation of the training to kick in. Whereas if I'm just trying to call his name back the whole time when he's face to face with him, you'd just be wasting effort.
Yeah. So do we keep walking, or?
Let's go back this way, and that way you can kind of follow us. Come on, big guy. Boy. And that way he can try to hopefully smell him from behind as well. It's okay, I know. And this is going to be harder too because he's apprehensive of a dog behind him. So just take a little bit of time. There you go. Good. Good boy. There you go. You're doing so good. Perfect. Now I'll distract him while he smells him. Perfect. Let's get out of this.
Is it good that he's like not so wanting to smell him, he's kind of just wanting to do his own thing?
Mm-hmm. As long as he's not lunging and barking and, you know, all that stuff being too intense, you're in a good situation, because he might be uncertain and might need some more time to get comfortable too, which is understandable because of the way that he exhibited himself at first. That's why it's always really good to not rush things when
Yeah.
it comes to meeting dogs. You know, really giving them the time and space that they need to properly adjust to a situation, and letting them kind of dictate themselves by closing in or backing off and things like that. Good job.
So like just it's best to kind of do it like kind of like outside and have them like walking around.
Because inside too, you have not only less space, but especially if like somebody's coming in the door, right? That's all he's gonna be able to focus on.
Well, and, like probably showing dogs and stuff too.
Not really. It might be guarding because he's a shepherd, but he doesn't seem like the personality type.
Okay.
Good boy, yes. Yes, very good. Oh yeah. We've done this plenty of times. Good boy, there you go. There you go, good boy. There you go. So you kind of see like when he kind of pushes in a little bit, then he's like, wait, I don't know about that yet. You want to play? What do you think?
You get him. You gotta get him.
Oh, good boy. And settle. Settle. Thank you. Yeah. It's gonna be your new buddy. There you go. See, that's how you know that he's not sure about it when he like touches or approaches him. He made his own space that time. He goes back to barking. He's just letting him know, kind of like how Blue was letting him know he was doing too much by snapping at him.
Yeah.
And those are those important social skills that he needs to learn and pick up on. You can only really do that
By
through.
socializing.
Yeah.
You want me to move? I'll move this way. Sorry.
Oh, we might be wrapping up. I don't want to get his paw wrapped up here. There you go. There you go. What do you think, bud? Huh? Yeah. Good boy. There you go. So that's how you know that it's more into play because of the play bow. He's still unsure, but he does want to play. There you go. He's like, what's that?
Yeah, he's interacted with one boy dog, but mainly it's all really been a lot of girl dogs.
Well, at least he's got a good mix now. He's got 2 boys, 2 girls right now. There you go. There you go. Good. And also try on your end to not have tension on the leash if you don't need it. There you go. That's why it's usually easier to do these things inside when they're off leash. But that's okay. And I'll be sure to record that for you guys too, so he kind of settles in and meets my older ladies. Older ladies don't usually have as much of a problem with dogs because they've had so many come and go. It's just that they're both fosters because they're apprehensive towards people.
Okay.
So it would take her longer to get used to you guys than to him. What do you think, Nash? He's like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. There you go. There you go. Good boy. Get him. Get him. Oh yeah, they're gonna be good friends. Yeah, there you go.
So as far as like roomies, like how do you have it set up
I have a two large crates and a divider as well. And again, and like with the last little puppy, I can set up a playpen. Just really depends. With these guys, they're all probably just free range. Unless I'm going to be leaving for a session with him or somebody else, then I'll have him like crated or in a playpen or something like that. But most of the time, especially if they all get along like this, we kind of let them just free roam so that way they can run and play with one another.
So the towering over thing, like that's like okay, like him doing that, or
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if the other dog is perfectly okay. It's one way that you'll be able to know if a situation is okay or not, even if you're apprehensive or uncertain, is how the other dog is taking it. Do they look scared? Do they look like, do they need help, or are they okay?
Yeah. Because I think, like, my mom's dog, she just has a lot of issues. She's a Yorkie. She's just unsure of everything. People, dogs, just everything. So, with the interactions, the first and only interaction we had with them was Howie doing just like this, but she didn't want to, so she nipped him, and then Howie didn't like that.
Yeah, that's
So then we
understandable.
separated them, and they haven't seen each other since that happened.
And it's just the fact that he wants to play and the other dog is uncertain.
Yeah.
So in that scenario, then him wanting to play and that posturing would be inappropriate because it's scaring the other dog.
Yeah.
So same behaviors, different dog will determine whether it's appropriate or inappropriate. So that's why, especially when you go to dog parks and stuff, you need to pick up on not only the social cues of your own dog, but the other dog that they're interacting with. Every dog and every interaction is going to be different.
Yeah, you know.
You guys have any questions on anything? Like, he'd be a better fit playmate-wise for Howie, even though he's smaller, but he's also a little bit sturdier, and he has more confidence. Whereas a Yorkie, who is smaller, more fragile, and then shy, would not be a good compatibility match.
Yeah. What about like a older dog who just lays there, and it's a small, like almost like this dog?
Probably not as well, because he'll want to play, and the older dog
That
probably
wants to
won't
just
want
lay
to.
there, yeah.
So. Alright, battery's gonna die soon. Anybody have any questions left you want recorded, or any other behaviors evaluated for his first video?
I don't think so.
Cool. What I'll do is I'll turn. You're okay. Oh, it's okay, big guy. Wait, Fiona. There you go. Good shot. Good boy. There you go. Good. So just letting them kind of smell, see each other through the gate. Since he doesn't have a muzzle, I just put a muzzle on the old ladies just for safety's sake. Good boy. Hold on. I know. 1 second. There you go. Good job. Good girl. It's okay, big guy. Hi, Fiona. Wait. Back. 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 Good. So just trying to let him kind of be introduced to the pups slowly with a Fiona. There you go. There you go. Good job. One at a time. Fiona. Come here. Good girl, good shit. Don't want to scare the little guy. Come on, big guy. It's okay. Fiona. Richie. Good girl. Come here, Lilo. Good girl. Oh, hi. Hi, Blue. Hi. Oh my goodness. Okay, sit. Good boy. Hi, Lilo. Good job. Wait, Blue. Blue. Good boy. All I'm doing is holding their attention so that way they're not all just bum rushing him. And it gives him a chance to get used to his new surroundings, get some water. Still seems a little unsure and a little overwhelmed. So that's why I want to try to take it nice and slow for him. Even though he's met a couple of the dogs before. Wait, Blue. Wait. Good boy. Good girl, Fiona. Good girl. What the? Good boy, Nash. Nash. Gentle Fiona. Come here, big guy. Come on. It's okay. Good boy. Just like everything else, we want to try to make it so they have access to as much space as necessary, and they're not crowding him. Good job, Fiona. There you go. That's smelling it. There you go. That's a good girl. Come here. I need him. There you go. Good job. Fiona. Good girl. Good breaks. Come here. I know. Come here. Okay, come here, big guy. I need to get you out of the corner. Come on. Come on, Howie. Come. Oh, it's okay. Here, let me help you out. Come here, Fiona. This way. There we go. Sometimes it's better to divide, sometimes it's better to open things up, especially since we don't want him to feel cornered if he's overwhelmed. We want to try to open things up as much as possible. Oh, there we go. What do you think of the view, huh, big guy? Go ahead and take the harness off of him now. Kind of settle in. Good boy. I know, you just want to play. Good boy. He's doing well. He definitely seems a little overwhelmed. I'm just going to give him some time to settle in. He should be just fine.
Oh, I know you guys want to play with him. Good boy. Good boy.